It was a tough weekend.
Yeah. That's
Stung, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we found out via the Bennington Show's Instagram that we lost our good radio friend for many, many years, Fez Whatley.
Yeah.
Man, I spent a lot of time listening to Ron and Fez bits over the weekend. Just pound for pound, maybe the best show ever. And just listening to Fez on there, man, Fez's commitment to what he did is like, it's remarkable. And I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way that I do. I know everybody around here felt the same way. There's a lot of assholes, and a lot of people become assholes when they like become hosts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And even people that aren't full assholes. Yeah. Even people that aren't full assholes are like kind of assholes. I have never in my time of doing this met anybody more universally loved, not only on the air, but in a real way off the air than Fez.
Yeah. He was 100% the guy you think he was. Like, it's weird. Like, some people change off the air and on the air as far as like do I like this person on the air? But then you hear horror stories about people who meet them and that guy was a dick. No one ever didn't like Fez. Like, it was impossible to not like that guy. He was just a lovely fucking person.
Yeah. If anything, off the air, like all the positive traits were what was magnified in him. Like, that's who he really, really was. He was just always. It was always fun to be around him.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I love that show. They were good to us. Like, when we got kicked off the air, they were good friends. He was a. They treated me well when I was in very bad shape. Yeah.
I mean, they treated all of us well, to tell you the truth. Like, when they were one of the Fez, Ron and Fez both, but definitely Fez. Like, when you don't have to treat staffers great. You know what I mean? Especially when they don't work for your show.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to.
You really don't. And I mean, those guys always did. And Fez was such a giving person in every respect. You know what I mean? And
he was never like afraid. Like, the sign of somebody who wants to do anything to be funny, he was never afraid to look a certain way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't worried about, people are going to think this. It's like, he's just doing what he did to service the show, if that makes any sense. Like, he wanted to be funny. He wanted the show to be good. Not allowing how he'd be perceived to interfere with him being funny, if that makes any sense.
100%.
Yeah, and that's just the sign of somebody who's genuinely funny.
Yeah. Everything. Everything. There was never a moment of like, well, this would be funny if I did this.
Right.
But then, after the show, people would look at me and think I was an idiot.
Yeah, fuck, what am I doing?
Yeah. No, it was just, you were fully immersed in the show.
Yeah.
And bringing that value. I mean, you legitimately, when you walked into that studio, felt like you were in a different universe.
Yeah. It's a very unique show. And I don't know. I remember the last times I saw Fez was twice. The last two times I saw him was in Florida. He was happy too. Like, he was with friends and he came to. I didn't even know he was at the show. I told him, "Fucking tell me when you're coming so I can comp you." But he was just, no, and he would just come. And then after the show, they'd go, "Fez is here." And so that's the last couple times I saw him. And I'm happy that I saw him. He was really happy. He was in good spirits. Like, his energy was really positive and happy. And like, you could tell when someone is pretending to be happy and when someone feels good. And I really sensed that he felt good. And he felt like, I don't know, whatever was happening in his personal life or whatever, he just seemed to really be in a much better place. Like, I remembered him up here. At times he would be sad, or you could see he was struggling. And I was really happy when I saw him that he was obviously in a good place.
Yeah, I saw him when they did WrestleMania in Orlando.
Oh, right.
He went to the Hall of Fame. He didn't go to WrestleMania, I don't think, but he loved the Hall of Fame ceremony because he loved the wrestling legends so much. And I mean, I remember I was sitting there and I just looked behind me and Fez is just there. And he looked like Fez, he had a big white beard and everything. And he was Fez.
Yeah.
Like, he exuded Fez.
Yeah.
And like I just ran over like, holy shit, and like gave him a big hug. And you're 100% right. He was there. I think he was there with, I don't know if he was there alone or with friends. He just seemed happy to be there. He was enjoying himself. I was really happy to have seen him there.
Yeah. And he was a very sweet and genuine, like it wasn't fake. How genuine he was. Like if you're a person on the earth and Fez Whatley didn't like you or treat you well, you must be a fucking complete dick. Like if Fez didn't like you, you're a complete dick.
Yeah. Yeah, although, like, what was so great about Fez is it was almost like if he didn't like you, like he would go to war on the air, but just because it was the show. You know what I mean? It was just this world that existed over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was literally there wasn't an ounce of venom from that guy.
No, not at all. And I remember when he came out.
Yeah.
So, it was nice. People knew, but, it was like to hear him finally get that relief.
Yeah.
And go and just say what he wanted to say. It was nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would recommend people go back and listen to some of that stuff because, our history going back to O&A with Ron and Fez, goes back before I was here. It goes back to you guys on NEW.
The Afro shows, yeah. They would, obviously Anthony, Fez, Ron, and Opie. Yeah. They would do those a lot of times after O&A. And I wasn't on a lot of those. I might have been on one or two of them, but that was those guys. That was those four, and they had that great crossover. And I remember when we got arrested. I think when me and Lewis got arrested, I think that they stayed into Ron and Fez's show, and Ron and Fez picked up the ball and ran with it. And I remember we got kicked off the air, and I couldn't get on shows, and just how they would promote my stuff and how well they treated me, and and we knew them from DC, and it's hard to talk about, but he was a great guy.
Yeah. And then as soon as the channel on XM started to open up, that's when Ron and Fez came over to Sirius, and I mean, when that show came over to the channel and like started really coexisting with us on a regular basis, I mean, just some of the funnest stuff ever. And
totally different.
But yeah.
Same audience in a lot of ways, totally different show.
Yeah.
Like the energy was different. There was constant laughs. It was obviously a much better produced show.
Oh my God!
I don't mean that with us. I mean as far as their bit structure. I mean they were just really fucking.
It was a real show.
Machine.
It wasn't like a bunch of idiots just showing up and turning mics on, and then all of us staffers scrambling around with chickens without our heads. Yeah. It was like they were putting on a real show.
Yes, they were.
But in a way that worked with an audience that was disgusted by real shows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because it was genuine. There was nothing hokey about it.
Nothing hokey.
Hilarious together.
And if you listen, man, because I was listening back a lot, like I said, and the stuff that Fez was doing on a level that you wouldn't pick up on at first. I mean, there's still stuff like you listen back and you don't know what's a bit, you don't know what's real, you don't know but like you listen and you see what Fez is doing as it goes, and it's just stuff. It's just furthering, even if he's in the barrel, quote unquote. Right. It's just everything. It's just furthering this thing and making it funnier and making it funnier and funnier and funnier. And that's why, like, they do these bits that were an hour and a half long. I mean, I remember driving home one day and just listening for 2 hours to Fez trying to get his cat to say the word cookie. And you're just sitting there, and it was just the best thing, because Fez is sitting there and he's going, because he had said that his cat said cookie. And Ron was like, well, I got to hear this. Bring the cat in. So Fez was like, I'm just sitting there listening to the radio, and there's no visual component. It's just audio. And you don't hear the cat make a sound. And Fez is going, cookie? Cookie? Ron goes, Fez, I think I just heard something. Did he say it? Fez goes, no, not yet. And it just, I mean, it was 2 hours, but it was brilliant.
That's funny.
And Fez was unwavering in his attempts, you know? It's just, I mean, there's so much out there.
Yeah, you just, oh yeah, the Hitler mustache. God damn, he committed to a bit.
Committed to it 100%. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Fez, he had another heart attack, I guess, not long ago. Ron posted about it, about how he, apparently he was flatlined. Like, this might have been 4 or 5 months ago, maybe. I'm maybe longer.
Could have been a year ago.
Yeah, was it a year ago? Was it that long? Maybe it was. And then I don't know if it was just something that he couldn't get past physically, or if he hadn't changed habits, or you know, some people just genetically their hearts are fucked up and give out.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. You know, I'm sure they're gonna, you know, talk about this a lot today on Bennington.
Jesus Christ,
yeah, right.
On Bennington, yeah. So listen to Bennington today. Obviously, he'll I'm sure have
it's on a 2 o'clock
tribute,
on this channel. But yeah, man. I mean, I remember I was a kid. I was doing wrestling trivia in there with Fez.
That's right.
And not knowing, like, and that's part of the magic of that show, not knowing exactly how it was going to go. You know, because you just never know.
Who knew more? Did you know more?
I ended up winning. I never knew either if Fez had like lost on purpose to, you know, for the sake of the bit, because he knew it would be funnier if
he lost,
if he was in the barrel. But like, yeah, you had to dress up as Gold Dust and go down on 57th Street. Like,
oh boy.
I mean, walking down 57th Street dressed as Gold Dust. And that's also like those moments when like Fez was in such glory when he was performing at the highest level, like when he was doing the most ridiculous thing, like there was no stopping. Like all you could do, you just had to get out of his way.
Yeah.
When he was like fully entrenched in character and like just in the most uncomfortable position, Fez shined like brighter than anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a real performer, man. He was a real performer. And the fact that he allowed himself, like you never knew how he really felt about it. And that's the sign of somebody who's committed to it. You're like, is this, like you said, is this for the bit? Is this something that he feels terrible about and is just going with because he knows it's funnier? Like the amount of things he put himself through on the air, or the roads he would go down with Ron. Like when Ron was talking, because Ron was so good at literally getting to the every single angle on something and really pulling it apart. And Fez would just go with it and allow that to happen, no matter how uncomfortable it was. He could have stopped that. He didn't have to do that,
of course,
but he chose to do it because it made the show better.
Yeah, every one of those conversations, you listen to it, and like I said, Fez is contributing in a way that just keeps it going and like adds to the funny. You know?
Yeah, it's like when you allow your psyche to be opened up like that.
Yes.
And you allow yourself to be dissected like that. And you put that out there, knowing how crazy some of it sounds and looks.
Yeah.
And in a very real way, putting it out there, letting people see, like, oh yeah, I'm a little nuts. And letting people see that and really get into the analysis with the other host.
Yeah.
Like, it's really exposing. It's really, really vulnerable, and it's not easy to do that. Not on a consistent basis, and not in like the real way that he did it. So I hope he gets the credit for that.
He deserves it.
The balls on Fez were tremendous.
More so than anybody.
Yeah,
more so than anybody I've ever. Because he's not an idiot. Like, he's aware of what's going on.
Of course he is. Yeah.
You know?
I'll never not laugh.
When he dressed up as baby Hitler. Again, walking down 57th Street. Oh. I mean,
I can't not laugh at that. Just pictures of him in that fucking shirt with the tie.
Yeah. Cake Horn. Cake Horn is maybe the funniest hour of radio I've ever heard in my life. I listened to the entire thing again over the weekend.
Yeah, I heard that not long ago, and it got. What did it get? They were talking about something, and it just all of a sudden it was like, wait, excuse me?
Yeah, it was like the very beginning of it. Fez was pissed because SiriusXM management had told Wiki that they didn't want Fez lingering around the fishbowl when there was a guest in, because they had complaints about Fez lingering.
He was trying to get the guest.
I guess, yeah. And Wiki told Fez, and Fez was pissed. The people were talking about him behind the scenes.
That's right.
You know? And again, like, just create. And he's like, at the beginning of the conversation, he said that they need everybody back there at the other end of the hall needs to shut their stupid cake horns. And Ron went, what? And it's just such a funny thing, because they just start exploring what on earth is a cake horn. And like every 10, 15 minutes, Fez is like, you're getting off topic. The problem is that down the hall, they're talking about me. And then like 40 minutes into the thing, Ron goes, Fez, what did you mean to say? And Fez goes, I meant to say cake horn.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, I was really, that one hit real hard. Oh, that's when Andrew WK did a drumathon.
Yeah,
and it was like live streamed, and so Fez showed up on the live stream directly behind him with one of those dumb tourist New York City Statue of Liberty foam hats. And he started playing air drums behind Andrew WK. It's just so good. Yeah, it was a real bummer.
Yeah, that was. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where you're hoping he was on the mend. I love the picture that Ron posted of him and
Fez and Gail together. Yeah,
that was nice. That was nice. And I'm so bad with Instagram. I'm trying to repost Ron's post. I just felt that was a better picture. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That was a great picture. I just didn't know how to repost it, so I just took a screen grab. It's a great picture of those three.
Yeah, it really is. You ever see Fez and Eastside Dave doing beard porn together?
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
Just they took their shirts off and rubbed beards together.
Yes. Yeah, it's really, really unpleasant.
It really is.
Oh God, yeah. The beards.
Dave is in his. They're both in tidy whities, rubbing beards. Unpleasant is the word, Jim.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. It's like, what's the matter?
It just doesn't stop.
Well, no, we're watching videos. What?
She got a little excited.
Hey, Travis, would you let Jim grieve?
I know.
Just, I guess everyone's got their own process.
All the sadness is coming out.
People grieve in different ways, Travis.
So bad.
Is it bad?
I can't breathe. I'm talking and breathing out of my mouth.
Did you pass gas while we were talking about Fez Whatley?
Yes, I did.
Fez would have wanted it that way.
That's how Fez would have wanted it.
Yes. Yeah, Fez would have wanted that. Beard porn is so unpleasant.
It really is. Really unpleasant.
That's fucking 9 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, the chest one. Yeah. Oh my God. What year did they come? I remember
Would have been 2005. It was the end of my internship.
It was right there. Yeah, it was like the talk about the golden ticket, golden tickets. I remember that. And then I want to say they were on in DC at the time. Was it DC they came from?
Yeah, they left DC and came over to XM, and there were promises of more golden ticket shows coming to XM, and it never did.
Yeah.
It was just
that was better.
Us and Ron. Yeah, 100% better. Yeah. And then they that would have been August or September of 2005. So just under a year after O&A got back to XM.
Okay. And what year did Fezzy leave? Was it about 2015? It was. I can't believe it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, they came over here with us. They ended up going to Raw Dog for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 to 15. These are 10 years. Crazy. Yep, November of 2005. You're right.
I was listening to a huge fight that he had with Chris Stanley because he had promised to bring in steaks for everybody.
Fez did or
Fez did. Yeah. And Fez brought in Steak Shack burgers because it's steak burgers.
Yeah.
And he didn't understand why everybody was pissed at him because it's Steak Shack. They couldn't call it Steak Shack if it wasn't steak. There's just an hour of Fez justifying his Steak Shack burgers.
Yeah. Very sad. Very sad. Very sad. You know, you never get used to it. It's funny. Like as you get older, and friends start dying, like you never. It never becomes like, oh yeah, like you kind of know the drill. You know how you're going to feel. You know how you're going to process. Like you're going to go through your very very sad moments. You're going to go through your up. But it's one of those things that no matter how many times you see it or do it, the ritual is never easier.
Mm-mm.
It's just more like you know what might be coming, and you're not as surprised by it. But it's just never.
Yeah, and you kind of know how it's going to feel throughout.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't make it easier.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and some hit harder than others, for sure.
Yeah, and then you think of things that you haven't thought of in a long time. You know what I mean? Like I just think of how nicely he treated me when I was in bad shape, and that's even more than the bits. I just remember that, and how I was really in a. Like needing friends and how good of friends they were. It's like you remember that shit. And
yes,
I'm happy I saw him happy too. Like I'm really grateful that the last times I saw him, he was happy. He wasn't in bad shape. And you can sense that when it's real and when it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And he was genuinely in a good place, at least mentally, or at least the 2 times I saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just sucks, dude. It sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe I'm sure Eastside Dave will have a lot to say too. So if anyone subscribes to Ant's Network and you listen to Dave's show, definitely check out Dave too. I'm sure he'll have a lot of memories. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Fez impacted a lot. I think Ron and Fez is a very underrated
100%,
show
100%.
in terms of quality and influence.
Yeah. I mean, people like the comedians all respect that show. Everyone who is a part of that show respects that show. Like the same people that would come on this show would, in most cases, go on that show.
But it's interesting. Respect is the right word. Like it's different. It's not just like, oh, that was a fun show to do. It's like there's a respect for that show because people were like, just because of how good it was.
Yeah. Yeah, we would always get shit too. It was so. Like it was such a machine and so well put together, and they work so well together that the laziness of the Opie and Anthony show, and by that I mean just like not putting bits as structured, and that just wasn't the way we did the show,
right?
But people would get very, very, very angry and go, "Look at the show, Ron." They were many times used to point out, "Oh yeah, that's the green room in Tampa." They many times be used to point out how poorly put together our show was.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was, Fez brought
I can't
his
look at it.
Fez brought his toenail
Yes, he
clippings
did. Yes, he
in
did.
the studio that he had been collecting.
You wouldn't want to put some of those in your mouth?
I wouldn't.
Oh God, some of them are really long too.
Yeah, they are
It's
yellow.
a big bag.
Yeah.
It's a big bag of toenail.
Remember when?
Oh.
Remember when Fez showed up to be one of the point people for the homeless shopping spree, but because of the way he was dressed, he got confused for one of the homeless people. Like, he showed up dressed homeless and then got frustrated on the air because people assumed that he was one of the homeless, not one of the point people. Oh, Earl Douglas there behind him.
Where's Earl? I don't see him.
There he is.
Oh, yeah.
So funny.
Sullen look.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Earl looks, the look on Earl's face right there is how everybody was looking at the screens when the OJ verdict was read.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it bummed out a lot of people. I think that a lot about that show and a lot about Fez in particular. It was like such a almost fantasy-like space. It was like joy, even when it was arguing and fighting, and it was just a source of joy for so many people. And Fez was such a center point of that joy for so many people that, I think a lot of people are feeling this today. And I mean, Fez was, for people who go back, talk about legacy, like when Bennington was doing the Ron and Ron show in Florida,
Sure.
Fez was on the air with them. And that show, like I wasn't in Florida at the time, it wasn't my time, but that show is a legendary show.
It is.
And that's where Fez started. And then for that to become Ron and Fez and go through, I mean, it's just, he's such an important person in the full history of the industry and everything that we do and what it's become.
I never heard Ron and Ron. Like, I knew who they were, but I was never on that show, and I don't think I ever heard it. By the time I was familiar with them, it was Ron and Fez.
Right, yeah, because they were Ron and Fez by the time you were on NEW and all that stuff.
I believe
that was,
so, yeah. I think they were on when I'm pretty sure. What year did they start? Oh, they started at 2000. Right, 98 to 2000 in Florida, 2000. So probably I was starting to go in probably right after they had started, but I don't think I was familiar with the show until I started actually coming on the show often.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Bert Kreischer is like the biggest Ron and Ron fan.
Oh, he remembers
Ever.
that. Yeah.
Loves
He's
it.
a Florida guy, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that's where Fez first came into the radio world.
Yeah. Paul. Oh God, there's so many.
Paulo.
There's so many.
Remember Paulo's movie?
Yeah.
Gap.
Is it called Gap?
Gap. This is a horror movie. They set up a premiere for it.
Was it good?
It wasn't so good. Yeah.
Yep. You know, it's the worst is too, like, and again, when people start dying, you're like, oh boy, this is going to just keep happening. People I really love and like, and people I like, it's just the more you live, the more people you see go.
You're the one who wants to stay alive for 100 years. You're going to watch them all go.
I know, but I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not even a surprise anymore when people, it just.
Nope. You got to enjoy people while they're here.
You do, and it's like you want to look back and go like, wow, I had a couple of nice conversations. Like the last time I saw that person,
Yeah.
It makes you less likely to react angrily when you realize, like, I might never see this guy again. Like I noticed that as me and my friends get older, you get more affectionate. It's just because I think everybody knows when you see a certain amount of people. Nobody says it, but you just kind of know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, not that you're never going to argue, but like, I might never see this guy again. So. And that's not even the thought you have when you're saying goodbye. You're not thinking like, I'll never see you again. Give me a hug. But it's in the air. It's the knowledge that can happen. So I think it's smart to learn from that and realize, like, just treat the people I really love a certain way or I like a certain way, because I don't want to look back and it's selfish in a way. Like, I don't want to go, what the fuck did I say that for? Like, why the fuck did I do that when that was the last thing I said to that guy?
Yeah, I'm smiling because I just thought of when Hard Rock Johnny called in to make fun of Fez for saying cake horn. He made a joke about a baby being in the cake in New Orleans, for Mardi Gras. Fez got mad and immediately accused Hard Rock Johnny of wanting to have a baby in his mouth because he's a sicko.
Fez didn't like that call?
No.
He didn't like that others were getting in on the joke.
Yeah, he thought that all this cake horn talk distracted from his beef that he had with the people down the hall.
Yeah, the cake.
He found it to be disloyal and in bad taste.
A distraction.
A total distraction. His beef was with the people down the hall who were the ones tooting their cake horns.
Did that remain the focal point of the discussion, the people down the hall?
No, they more directed a lot of the conversation and began taking calls that were more referencing the cake horn. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, on that day it became the #1 trending topic on Twitter in the nation.
Really? Cake horn.
But yeah, I think you're right, Jim. I think you go through stuff like this, and you're right. You're not conscious. You're not consciously going, well, before I do anything, this may be the last time.
Yeah.
But I think it also, you reprioritize a little bit naturally. Like, you just start to, is this really that important? Do I even care that much? Like,
right.
Do I need to be angry about this?
Is it worth snapping about? And again, there's nothing with Fez I ever wanted to, but I mean, just as a general rule, you start to, and again, it's not something you put into words even in your own head, unless you're in a moment like this, you're thinking about it. But in most cases, you just notice it's happening. And I'm glad it's happening, because I'm sure for a lot of people it doesn't. And then they look back and go, why didn't I take that call? Or why didn't I, you know what I mean? Like, I love the thing that he did. Why didn't I tell him I love that thing that he did? I thought that was great. So you start, it kind of changes the way you interact with the people you care about in a way.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
In a much better way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was really lucky, like from a young age, like in my early 20s, to be able to sit in studio and watch Fez do his thing. Because, like, you just look at all of this so differently. It's like this ability to fully commit, to just watch this guy not break at all because it's better for the show. Like, the outside world doesn't matter. The truth, like, whatever. Like, what's funnier, what's more entertaining and engaging for this show right now, that's the world we're going to stay in. And I've never seen anybody do that the way Fez did it.
Yeah, yeah, because you really couldn't tell where it started, like where the bit kind of ended, and like, was he really upset or was he just going? Like, I knew him, and a lot of times I didn't know, is he just going with this or is he really upset?
Like, when we're sitting here in the same studio every day, doing what they do for a living, and we're still, after Ron and Fez is on the next day, like a bunch of marks sitting around talking about, like, is he really mad? Was that for real? Was that a bit? Was that a blah, blah, blah? And you're like, that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, rest in peace.
Fez Marie.
Fez Marie, rest in peace. You always wish there was something to say that's more than R.I.P., but there's just not. Like,
I mean, what are you going to say?
Yeah.
Say rest easy.
Rest in power?
No, I'd rather not say either of those things. Rest easy. What are we, bikers?
Rest easy, Fez.
Yeah, rest easy. I'm trying to sound, people who say that, they sound like they're two rugged road warriors together.
Yeah.
Rest easy, friend.
Right.
Shut up. Rest in peace.
You rode along the long, treacherous road.
Yeah.
And now you can rest easy.
Yeah. They're the type of people who would say, partner.
Partner.
Rest easy, partner.
Yeah.
Rest in power.
Rest in power.
No, I don't like that.
No?
No, I don't.
Why? It's like you're taking rest in peace, but you've put more thought into it. And
it's a P. You could say anything.
I mean, I guess you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Jim goes, it'll be rest in PU because of your gas.
Or no, rest in P because of the beverage.
Yeah, rest in peas. We're all pissing on his grave. R.I.P. Yeah. Did you have a favorite thing that you heard over the weekend, Travis? I know you were.
I mean, how do you get better than
K-Corn?
K-Corn.
K-Corn.
I mean, between K-Corn.
How great is it though that like something that simple can become your legacy?
I mean,
You know?
and it's so hard. Like you can't even play like, you know, a greatest hits package with Fez or whatever, because these segments are so
No, you'd have to sit there for a week.
long.
Yeah.
And just so detailed, and some things go on for weeks.
Yeah, and you're right. Detailed is right. Like to appreciate it,
You just play like 30 seconds.
No, you have to start analyzing like what's going on and why it's happening and who's saying what. And you're like, oh, this is what's happening here.
Yeah.
It's a masterclass.
It really was. It was just an incredible show.
Yeah.
So how come you didn't like Fez?
Yeah, you always
Because he was gay.
I get that. Thought so.
You think that's anti-gay? Yes.
Yeah, he was very sensitive to that.
Well, yeah.
So funny.
Anytime he got an argument with anybody, he'd accuse him of being homophobic. Yeah. So, rest in power.
Yeah.
Rest easy. Pour one out,
Miss Fez.
Miss Fez.
Yeah, and listen to Ron today. I mean, people would be inclined to do that anyway, but
How about remember Soundboard Fez? Soundboard Fez would just be Fez on a soundboard that Ron had, so he could just do the show with Soundboard Fez. And of course, I mean,
I just, of course.
blueberries.
I thought of it before, and when Mike came in, the door closed.
So did
You
I.
can't hear the door close without hearing that in you cannot. That sound of the door closing, I had never paid attention to, and then when you hear it in that bit, you're like, oh God.
I texted Travis this weekend, and I go, "Hey, remember when the door closed in the blueberries pit?" Oh. Just so great.
That's 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah. Yeah, it was 10 years ago this summer.
Wow. Wow.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Well, I know he meant a lot to a lot of people. I mean, just an outpouring of support. It was actually kind of funny. It was trending on Twitter, RIP Fez, on Saturday, I want to say. And people were worried because they thought Wilmer Valderrama died because he played Fez on that 70s show.
Oh.
So they saw RIP Fez was trending and people were worried about Wilmer.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that they wrote, a lot of places picked up and wrote about him. I was happy to see that too.
A lot of places wrote about him. I mean, just a tremendous outpouring of people talking about him. You hope that he knew like how many people cared for him and felt a closeness to him, because he's on the radio, like you don't always know who's listening or how they're feeling, right? You know what I mean? And the amount of people that felt a closeness to him who didn't even know him just because they listened to him on the radio for so many years. Like, you hope that he was aware of the positive impact that he had on the amount of people that he had it on.
You know, yeah, when you're doing stand-up, the advantage is you get to see a lot of the people who listen, and they talk to you afterwards. So you're kind of, you're exposed to people going, hey, I like that. For Fez, it would probably been the live events. He had to know. I mean,
Yeah.
the outpouring he got at live events.
Yeah.
I mean, people can't fake that. I mean, they have it for you or they don't. So yeah, you hope so that at the live events, he understood how people really felt. That's always what you wonder too. Like, did this person know how many people really loved him and how respected he was?
Yeah.
And you have to assume at the live events that people, you become aware of that from just being around the people and hearing what they're giving you.
Yeah, like, I mean, professionally, when you look at Fez's life, like, the guy lived his dream,
Yep.
and was as successful at it as anybody could be. Pretty amazing.
Yep. Yeah, we're looking at a picture of him and Bert Kreischer.
It's weird for this one, though, because Bert doesn't have his shirt on. I don't know if you realized that when he was taking the photo.
Oh, you know what? Fez must have caught him in a weird time.
Yeah, that's odd. Because Bert, it's weird that he'd be wearing a baseball cap, but he doesn't have his shirt on.
Yeah, he's boarding a flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What?
Fez overtips at dinner. It's a great one too.
What happened when Fez overtipped at dinner?
He overtipped it at dinner.
On purpose, or he didn't know, or he did it by mistake?
Bert was tweeting a bunch of good ones.
Fez takes the stick. Remember when Fez used to take the stick? Ron would put him in charge of the show for the day.
Fez takes the stick.
His fear of heights.
Take the stick.
For a week, Fez had to be a different character every day.
Oh, that's right. For the whole show. Oh, yeah. Remember when Fez had to wear a toupee every day? But, like, because we were all such assholes, we wouldn't go with any bits. We would just talk about what was really happening, which meant that Fez had to wear the toupee all the time, like even when the show wasn't on the air. Fez is the D-man.
Demon.
The D-man.
Yep. Rest in peace, Fez.
Yeah, man. It's also like, I feel like you sometimes take for granted how much you see somebody.
Yep.
Like, we saw them every day.
Every day for years.
Years.
Yep.
It's just like, you just kind of, that's your life. You go, hey,
Yeah.
what's up, dude? Yeah. Everything's good.
Yep.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, the chat in the hallway.
Yeah.
Or the brief. Sometimes you stop and talk, but usually it's walking by. Have a great show. All right, cool, man. Great show. It's just, he's walking in, you're walking out.
Or just a quick, like, asking about some wrestler or something. What the hell are they doing with this guy or whatever it is? Yeah. Because he was a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah. A lot of times he would ask me what I thought.
About wrestling?
Yeah, about what was going on.
Did you have an informed opinion?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff?
I would say things. That's probably a work.
Oh, whoa, you do know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't
Probably a
realize.
wrestling bit.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow, yeah. He was like, oh, I didn't even think it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be right about that. You didn't even think about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife got so mad at me because I made a bet on without asking her on the last wrestling. I think it was the second. I don't remember how we did 2 or 3 wrestling trivia contests. And the second one, instead of dressing up like Gold Dust, it was when we were using Pal Talk, And Ron asked me if I thought I could beat Fez again. Of course, we were on the air, so I was like, yeah, of course I can. And Fez is, oh, really? And it's like, yeah. And so then the bet was that Jess, my wife now, would have to come in with me and bring a bikini. And if I lost, Jess would have to do a bikini fashion show on Pal Talk. But if Fez lost, he would have to wear Jess's bikini and do a fashion show on Pal Talk. And I was like, you're on. And I went home and told Jess, and she was like, what? You did what? How do you even know? Are they gonna like? She's like, what if they rig it? Like, what if it's fake? I was like, oh, no, I don't think they will. But they either didn't or they did it in my favor. Whoever knows. But Fez did a fashion show wearing Jess's bikini, and Jess and Fez are not the same size.
No, they're not.
No.
I imagine it was not a pleasant fit.
It wasn't a pleasant fit, and Jess was not able to wear the bikini anymore. It was stretched out at places.
Kyle's reminding me, didn't Ron tell Jess during one of those trivia contests that it wasn't really a trivia contest and you were going to propose?
Yes, and then I pretended like I was going to.
Yeah.
She was very upset.
She was really mad at
She was
that,
really,
right?
really, I mean, to this day, yeah, she was really mad. I didn't think she would take it so seriously, but she did.
She thought you were going to propose.
I mean, I pretended like I was going to get down on one knee.
you made it worse.
Well, yeah, because Ron said the thing. And like
It's hard to say no to Ron.
Well, Ron said the thing, and Fez is looking at me, and I'm like, I'm looking at these guys. Look at Fez. Like, Ron says anything to Fez, Fez is going to go with the bit. I'm not going to go into their room and disrespect them.
You're not going to be the asshole.
Yeah, what am I going to not go with it in front of like the King Fez? No, I'm going to go with it.
What exactly did you say when you? Because I do remember that and how she was furious.
Furious. It's of everything. It's the maddest she's ever been with me for a radio thing.
Yep.
Ron was like, "You don't think you're here for a trivia contest, do you, Jess?" And Jess was like, "What do you mean?" And Ron goes, "Well," and I had obviously, this was something Ron thought of spur of the moment, I think, because Ron just looks at me and he goes, "Well, Sam has something to ask you." And I was like looking around the room and it's like, what am I going to do? I was looking at Fez. It's like, what would Fez do? Fez would get down on his goddamn knee and propose. Like, that's what Fez would do. So I did. I went like, well, Jess, we've been together for a long time. We really care about each other. And like, she was like, oh my God, what's happening? And I wanted to know if, and I was like at the edge of my chair, like I was about to get down. And then I went, if you're ready for this trivia contest. And everybody was like, yay. And she was like a good sport about it because we were on the air. But then when we were off the air, she was like, told me how fucked up it was that I just did that.
Why would you do that to me on the air?
Like, that was totally embarrassing. That was so fucked up. And I was like, why? I don't think that was a big deal. And she informed me that I was indeed wrong, that my social cues had not kicked in properly, that was indeed a humiliating big deal thing to do.
To a woman, yeah.
To a woman, yeah. That you had been dating for like a couple years at that point. So I said, sorry. I'm sure I got her some jewelry, maybe some flowers.
You had to apologize?
Oh, profusely.
Time heals all wounds, though.
I mean, she got the proposal, for God's sakes. What's there to be mad about now? We got a great radio bit and a proposal.
That's right.
We get to interact with Fez Whatley, for God's sakes. Consider yourself blessed.
How long after that did you actually propose?
I mean, it would have been years, probably. At least a year, right? Yeah. It wasn't quick after that.
No.
She was pissed.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, she might have been in the right.
Yeah, I could see where a woman wouldn't go for that. Fake proposal on the radio. Where your heart starts beating like, oh God, this is it.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I just thought about like,
how funny will this be?
Yeah, I was like, Ron will laugh, Fez will think it's cool. He'll
Plus,
laugh.
Ron plays everything so straight.
He was being
She
straight,
had
man.
no reason to think.
Sure.
Well, why would somebody just do that?
Yeah.
Why would anybody fake a proposal to the person they love?
She's already
and
kind of
humiliate them.
She's already kind of freaking out because she's not used to being on the radio, which I didn't even consider.
Yeah.
And also, if I lost the trivia contest, she would have to be in a bikini and pal talk.
Right.
So she didn't want to do that. So she was in this weird mental place. And I was like,
Figured you would exploit it.
no, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about her. I thought about Fez and I thought, why would Ron set me up for this and what would Fez do? Fez would propose. So I better like at least lean in a little bit. And it really, it set me back a while.
Yeah.
It really did set me back a while.
Because the right thing to do is it's very rarely the funny thing to do.